Okay, I'm gonna hit go on YouTube.
Yeah.
Discord unmute.
Coming.
YouTube is going live. We are live.
Obyte Community Radio.
Community Radio.
Good evening for the second edition of the great Obyte Community Radio. In the background, you can hear it driving away. It's going straight. It's some kind of I don't know. It's an amalgam of a combination of synthesizer pop and I don't know, some rocky tune. It's done by Casper, the man in the upper right corner, the user acquisition manager. He also can do some kind of cool tracks, obviously. So this is of him. I'm putting it in the foreground again a bit, and I'm going to be silent for 1 second so that you can admire it. And then I'm fading it out. Thank you, Casper, for that.
Casper is he's a man of many talents.
Yes, he is, definitely.
And you haven't even tasted my cooking.
True. So my name is Jeder, guys. I'm the presenter of this show, together with the Canadian in the down lower right corner. He's called Bucky Dödel, the man with the green screen in the back. And I don't know if this tape recording thing that you have on the right side of you, Bucky, is really a tape thing, recording thing, or if it's just an image laying over, you know, it's a green screen.
This is the real deal.
This is the real deal? Oh, you can push knobs, you can turn things.
I can, and I just realized that my tape ran out. So my tape is, it's, see this?
Yeah. Oh, really? It's moving. So either this is a very clever green screen.
Well, I got to tell you one thing about technology. We all love our really slick technology and technology that really does exactly what you want it to do. This thing is carved out of stone. This machine is, it's a ton. All the buttons are very satisfying to push.
Satisfying.
They're very solid. And the knobs are very solid, and it does exactly what it's meant to do. It's a great piece of technology. I love it. I've had it for a long time, and I inherited it from my mentor, and he recorded from the 70s. He recorded with this. This is a 4-track TAC 4-track tape recorder. So I love it.
It looks beautiful. I shouldn't have hinted at that, most likely, because now you will only the whole time push knobs, because it's very satisfying, obviously, to do.
Oh, if you could push the buttons on this machine, that's all you'd do for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
It's great.
Most likely just sipping wine and pushing buttons. Okay. Yeah. But we two are just the presenters of this show. We two are not the planet that this show is turning around, because this is the user acquisition manager of Obyte that you can see in the upper right corner. That's Casper, or also known as Punctured.
Good evening,
your
everyone.
street name. That's
yeah. It's been for like 20 years. So.
Really? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then, most importantly, because the other three that we have just talked about, they know their shit a bit and here and there, but the real deal now is this guy in the middle. We have put it in the middle because he's very important. He's the guy keeping it all together. He's the Obyte developer, and he's called Tamo. And we're super happy to have you, Tamo.
Hi.
And we four and you out there are going to talk a lot about Obyte and everything that's somehow related with, because as you might know out of the first episode of this show, there's a lot of things going on in the Obyte universe, and this is exactly what we're going to talk about in the next, let's take a look at the clock, 56 minutes. If something might seem odd to you out there, this is a disclaimer now. If something might seem odd to you, if people are moving their lips and you cannot hear them,
Yes.
then, or if, I don't know, you're turning into Discord, or you're you're watching us on YouTube with video connected and everything, and things might seem strange, please give us a hint. That would be really, really cool of all of you. We love you for this, because we're putting together a lot of video streams, audio streams, Discord streams, text streams, and everything, just for you to have a convenient experience watching the show. And you might know that the more technical things you do, the more things can possibly break. Therefore, if things are breaking or if things are acting up, please give us a shout out, a small hint, and we are doing the best that we can with our mechanical team that is basically me and a lot of other people that are not here right now. Then to fix everything just during the show, just like we did last time. We had some technical issues, but we prevailed, and that's the spirit that we want to keep up. So
we've forgotten about all those technical issues. They don't exist in my mind anymore. No. They've erased themselves. And you know, we just heard that the YouTube stream is looking and sounding great. That's good to hear. We got people over on YouTube checking it out. So hello, our YouTube viewers. It's great to see you over there. And if you do find something that sounds strange or looks strange, let us know. And of course, if you want to, you can put a question in the YouTube chat, because we're monitoring that. So if you have a question, you can feel free to write up something, or just say like a big hello to you in YouTube, or in the Discord channel as well, because we do have some listeners and viewers in the Discord channel as well. And our old friend Pensive is there too. Hello, Pensive. Good to see you. Great. Thanks for coming.
So maybe let's just, Casper, you're a user acquisition manager of Obyte. Maybe I'm going to let you introduce Tamo and what's Tamo doing on the team of Obyte.
Yeah, I can definitely do so. Well, as far as I recall, Tamo started a year and a half ago contributing to Obyte from a developer point of view. And he was soon enrolled in the core team as well. And I think he recently started working more or less full-time on improving the Obyte ecosystem. While not primarily on the core protocol, Tamo is definitely the primary contributor to all of the different. There's so many elements of the Obyte network. The hubs, the relays, the full nodes, the statistics just lately was updated with a list showing which witnesses includes which witnesses, the tongue twister. So yeah, he's a really all-round developer, contributing everywhere that needs a bit of updating or refreshing or improvement as well. Isn't that pretty much what you do, Tamo?
Yeah, that's right, because yeah, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I'm like basically 2 of the thirds time of all my working hours, so not full time.
Almost full time then.
Yeah.
And then there's all the off hours that you spend on Discord and chats, and
yeah, if you count that in, then it's definitely full.
Exactly.
So now that we basically have made a rough introduction of who we are, and I'm going to recall the title of the show again. This is Obyte Community Radio. Let's call it radio. It's not, because obviously we're having video. So it's kind of a good old friend of mine said something like social broadcasting, but I still don't know what that meant. So let's just go. It's called some kind of broadcasting. combined with video, and it's all about Obyte. In the end, we are mostly about Obyte because we are not living in a separate world. So for sure, Obyte itself is connected because it's a cryptocurrency. It's connected to the whole market that is around us and to the world that we're living in. But basically, apart from that, we are going to focus ourselves in Obyte and all the topics about that. And today's show, we will highlight the past week's events. So as you might know, this is a show that is going to come to you bi-weekly. By the way, since I'm German, I had a hard time understanding what bi-weekly means. Obviously, it means every 2 weeks.
Yes,
so just
exactly.
Explain this.
It's like a bicycle, which has also like bicycle.
Yeah, that's true.
But that would sound like it should be twice a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I had a long discussion with some kind of people around me, but let's just say and define it for this show. It's twice, not a week. It's twice a month or every second week.
And to bring all the young listeners up to date, it's every fortnight.
Exactly. It's every fortnight. You don't need to spend any V-Bucks on this show, so it's every fortnight. So
it does have an in-game currency.
It does. It got 2, no?
I've never played it, but I know it's a big thing.
I never played it either, but I got a son, you know. That's where the so Fortnite thing starts. And yeah, it's kind of connected because we are talking about currencies as well, but we're talking about Obyte and we're talking about Darkbyte because that's the second currency that you have on the chain, no?
It's Blackbytes.
Oh, it's not Dark, it's Blackbytes. Very sorry.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, well, it's not close. It's almost the same thing, Bucky.
Yeah.
But I got 0, you know. I got 0 Blackbyte. Where's the difference? Can you just say that?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Can you take that, Tamo? I think you're way better at explaining the Blackbytes.
Yeah. So all the transactions of the regular bytes or native bytes or how you want to call them are recorded on the public database, and anybody can see which address sent to which address and how much and so on. But if you take black bytes, then none of that information is on like publicly available. And the way how it's done is that basically the history of that black bytes is inside of the container that you send to the other person. So you're basically sending files to other person, and the way how the other user can check that you didn't double spend those is that their wallet will go through the history in that file and check that if it's not spent already. And the other thing that it checks that it's actually coming from the source, when it was created. So that's basically it.
Basically, what we can say is that the one thing is a transparent coin where you can see everything that has been spent, where you can check all the transactions, check the blocks, check whatever, check wallets, check everything that you want to know. And not the dark ones, the black bytes, they are kind of a privacy of a private transaction where you cannot check from the outside what has been sent to whom, by whom. to have
Is it
more
possible?
private.
The question I come across from time to time is whether a receiver of a black byte is able to see any previous owners of that black byte, or only the past owner,
All the previous ones.
all the previous ones. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it basically
but
links all the way back to the Genesis unit.
yeah,
Okay.
because it needs to make sure that it wasn't created from thin air, so that it's
Mm.
origin from the first issuing transaction.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry for that detour, but I thought that might be quite interesting, because
That's a good question.
initially I wanted to introduce what we are going to do and what we're going to talk about in this show. We are going to have a section where we're going to talk about the past week's event, about the autonomous agents developer contest entries. That's where Casper is most likely going to go straight and go strong, because at least he said that he will be. I don't know if I'm now putting you under much stress, Casper.
No, that's
I don't
perfectly
hope so.
fine. No.
Then we will have Alva talking about Obyte, which is a grant proposal. He's going to be on Discord and maybe on YouTube. If not, we are going to relay the answers that he's going to give to YouTube by voice. And we are going to have a deep dive with Tamo. Therefore, he's here. Well, he's here because he knows a lot of things and is a great expert on various topics. But he will later on give us a deep dive, technical deep dive, about some autonomous agents and when an autonomous agent makes sense and when you should rather use a chatbot. And
that's actually a topic from the community that they wanted us to cover.
Even better.
When exactly? Yeah.
Even better. So we're directly taking up the community questions and having people, well, knowledgeable people like Tamo, not us, because we could say something, but knowledgeable people like Tamo answering those questions. And later on, we'll have some time for additional questions that might come up during the show, or whatever inquiries, whatever you wanted to know. One question of you might be, hey, dear Canadian, is this little Obyte symbols on your shirt? This could be.
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. It took me a long time to find this shirt.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, I don't know. I'm going to say it is. I'm going to say it is because my camera is not that high resolution.
No, from here it looks like that. It's cool.
Yeah, little Obytes. Yeah, one thing I will say about the Obyte logo is that if you have the Obyte logo on a white background, you're going to have trouble finding it. I was looking for it today, and it was on a white background, and I was looking, where is the Obyte thing? I said, oh, it's a round circle. So anyway, that's just me.
Yeah.
It's very exciting, and I have to. If I could ask a question about the, I'm sorry to go back a little bit, but a question about the black byte.
Mm-hmm.
So the history of right back to the origin of a black byte is inside the file itself. Is that only viewable to the wallet setter? Right. And so anybody outside that wouldn't be viewable. It wouldn't be transparent at all.
Exactly. It's transferred from one person to another by peer-to-peer, encrypted peer-to-peer. So you can't even of course, if you put the file on a file sharing service, then the file sharing service will also be able to see that file. But normally you can actually send it by pairing your wallet with the one you're receiving it from. Obviously, that would require interaction before you do the transaction, because you need to pair your wallets, and you won't necessarily want to do that to remain private. So what you can do is actually create it as we call it text coins, while it's not exactly text, it's encrypted data, and you pass this on as a file, and you can send it you can create a temporary email address and receive it from someone you don't know who is, and he won't be able to know who you are. And you receive the file and you import it into your wallet, and that will
Mhm.
be your black bytes now.
Mhm.
It's quite a bit more private actually than some of the most popular privacy coins out there, like Monero, where you actually can sort of distinguish the on the public ledger who transferred to who. So I think it's a quite interesting concept actually. There's actually another feature about the black bytes that doesn't necessarily have to be with the privacy coins, but it's also fixed denominations. So it's like regular notes of money, where you have a 5 and a 10 and a 20, and you have to pass those coins on to the receivers. If you have a 10, you can pass on or send that 10 black byte coin. You wouldn't be able to send 9 black bytes.
Oh, wow.
So it's
Okay.
yeah. So it works basically just like cash would work.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Very
totally.
interesting.
Hmm hmm
Totally. So, Casper, do you want to start
Yes,
talking about last week's events and the
yes, of course.
autonomous agent
Yeah.
entries?
We had the deadline is tonight for the third round of autonomous agent, the developer contest, but so obviously I can't go over those. I haven't had time to look into it yet. But the second round, we had 5 entries,
Can you
and
Can I
yeah.
ask you to there might be new listeners or by the way,
Hmm
this program will be recorded. So all of you out there that might have missed, I don't know, the start of the show or that are going to miss the end of the show, we are recording it right now as we speak, and we are putting it out as well for you to rehearsal and to re-listen to things that you might have not get in the first place or that you might have not been able to attend. So that's the first thing. And there might be people new to the topic, Casper. So
Yes.
can you maybe have a short sentence of introducing what this entries are about?
Of course. Well, the autonomous agent is actually a new improvement to the Obyte protocol. Currently, it's only live on the test net. We want to make sure that everything works and it doesn't break anything, and that we didn't introduce any security risks. So right now, it's only available on the test net. An autonomous agent is basically just a little piece of code that gets posted into the public ledger, and whenever you interact with that piece of code, you send a triggering transaction to it, and then it executes. The benefit of that is that it executes in a predictable way, so that everyone interacting with an autonomous agent knows exactly what the outcome will be. And why is this important? Well, for one thing, it's becoming a decentralized application, uh, known also from Ethereum as a DApp, a decentralized application, and that means that there's no single point of failure. If one of the servers should go offline, you wouldn't know, and the autonomous agent would still work and run for as long as there's full nodes on the network. There will be autonomous agents. So it's and it's immutable. You cannot change once the code is posted on the ledger. It becomes immutable. So it's predictable, immutable, and decentralized. I guess that's pretty much what autonomous agents is.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for this definition of what we are talking about now.
Hmm And actually, I think, as far as I'm aware, Obyte is the first DAC-based project to make that possible. So it's kind of a world first. That's quite interesting
Not
too.
bad. Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And of course, since this is on the testnet for the time being, we definitely wanted to invite everyone to try and break things, to suggest improvements, and so on and so forth. And the best way we could think of was to introduce a contest where developers could create these autonomous agents and compete for rewards, prizes, monetary prizes. And we decided to do this bi-weekly. um, and we had so far 2 rounds, and we're going to run at least, I think, until mid-October. I can't remember the exact dates, but there'll be plenty of rounds to go still. And for the second round, we had 5 entries. I think I'll just mention the 3 that ranked highest. There's a jury with each round. There's a jury deciding which ones they believe are worthy of being awarded the prizes. And people are, of course, interested in knowing what are the criteria they are judging by. And actually, it's not that simple to say what the criteria are, because everyone in the jury evaluates from their own personal standpoint and what they think is beneficial, what is technically clever or fun or useful. So it's really not one single thing that gets evaluated. And we don't want to announce these criteria in advance, because it doesn't really make sense. It would limit people's creativity if we imposed a set of that you need to do this and you need to provide some highly technical entries to have a chance to win. That's definitely not the case.
So you have been talking about winning. So also additional information. It might be, of relevance for people. What winnings are we talking about? Is it fame and honor, or is it?
No, it's
A car?
monetary prizes. The winner is of every round. We spent 300 gigabytes on the prizes, and I think what's it going to be, 622 black bytes, gigabytes, giga black bytes, I think it's called. So it's roughly around $6,000 for each round in prize money. Yeah.
That's quite substantial, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. And some of these entries were actually created in less than 2 weeks. So it's quite a good pay for 2 weeks of work. The winner is awarded 140 gigabytes and at a price at roughly $20 to $25. That still amounts to a substantial sum of money.
Not too bad, not too bad. So all of you developers out there, and technical, analytical, whatever people, this might be for you a chance to go still into, because we are going to have additional rounds coming up. But we are talking now about the entries for round 2, you said.
2, exactly. And on the 3rd place, we had what's he's called? I think he's Hey Monkey, I believe it was. The attested some kind of reputation system, where you allow basically everyone to contribute to a reputation system, and particularly in these open environments where everyone can see and predict what an outcome will be from an autonomous agent. I think it's quite interesting to have an autonomous agent to provide a reputation system. So everyone else will be able to tap into that autonomous agent and receive a given user's reputation for whatever. They can create different categories and say for Facebook, his reputation is good or bad, or you can have some kind of online shopping platform where you would want to know the reputation before you pay for a given product and stuff like that. So that's quite an interesting use case, really.
For me, it reminded the Black Mirror nosedive episode, where you could basically like rate people with that. So
Yeah.
I immediately understand what's the use of it.
Yeah, that's a good recognition, good remembrance. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't see that episode. Is this homework I'm going to have to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You should.
but that means you have to binge watch a lot of episodes. There's many great ones.
All right, and on to the second prize. It was made by Elva Leikner, I think it's called. He's called. He made an EOS-like crowd sale. It's basically an ICO kind of platform, but it also made it possible to predict the outcome or the what's it called, the profit from an ICO, and for the issuer to actually get the maximum out of an ICO. I don't know, perhaps Tamo, you can add a few words on that. I know you know the developer a bit.
Yes, I also took part of the EOS crowd sale for myself. So it was actually me who told him that he should maybe try to do this one on Obyte, and he took that challenge to like recreate one of the Ethereum's most popular smart contracts on Obyte. The thing with the EOS crowd sale was that it basically had like a round every day, so everybody was investing each day some amount of Ethereum to a smart contract, and then after each day they calculated how much is every person's share of the total amount invested on that day, and then they distributed the EOS token to the users based on that. And yeah, that's basically it, how it worked.
And the third prize, or the winner, of course, was a subscription service. That's actually quite an interesting thing. Subscription services are notoriously difficult because it requires the recipient to initiate a transaction, and that's something you generally wouldn't want in a cryptocurrency where someone can trigger your wallet to pay for something. But the way it works is that it basically allows the subscriber to transfer an amount of money to the autonomous agent, and the service provider can then tap into that balance, and for as long as you allow that service provider to withdraw an amount every month, then they will be able to do so. The subscriber can at any time withdraw his funds and cancel the subscription. So I think that's quite an interesting and rather useful entry as well. And it was made by Peter Miklos, also a quite long time contributor to the Obyte ecosystem.
Very cool. So this is not new people coming out of nowhere contributing, but people that are around the chain for quite some time now.
Yeah, some of them.
Some of them.
But there
was one more reward.
Oh yeah, the guide. We have also a reward for the best guide or tutorial to help others get started. The fun thing about these autonomous agents is that they are written in a programming language or scripting language called OScript. So since nobody knows how to code in OScript in advance, then everyone are equal. Everyone has to learn the scripting language
That's
first,
cool.
and then so you can have even a 40 years experienced developer, and he will have to start completely from scratch, just like everyone else. So that's quite interesting as well.
I'm looking at my Canadian friend, and maybe
Yeah,
this is for you. This
there's
is
a
for
chance for
you.
me. Yes, there's a
Yes,
chance.
because
Yes, I've been.
you have the same starting grounds like, let's say, Tomo.
I don't think that's true.
Well, I don't know. Well, this is how Casper sold it to me.
Well, I don't know.
If you missed out on this late 70s, then now's your chance.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been learning, and you never know. You never know. Well, what? But something that okay, so I've been around a lot of creative projects over the years. Very exciting creative projects. You guys must be like a kid in a candy store with the ideas that come up for the platform.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
um,
so many cool
it's
things.
yeah, and it's really exciting to be part of this, and to contribute to this. I mean, you don't have to be some kind of coding genius or wizard to contribute. Everything helps, and it's insanely rewarding to be part of it and to help out, um, both in terms of being available in the community, as well as actually hosting a server, or yeah, basically just contributing by what means you're able to.
Hmm.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
But many times those autonomous agents doesn't even have to be like totally new idea. They could be some old idea, but now with the help of autonomous agents, they could be solved differently and more decentralized way, or so on. So you can basically take some old idea also and try to implement it on Obyte.
Hmm. That's true, yeah. And we also
Well,
have the grants program, um, that incentivizes everyone to contribute. If you have a use case or a business process that you think this is actually doable on Obyte, and I could improve an existing process or create a new business process, I only need some funding for this project, then you can apply for funding to actually create a proof of concept or implement a full business process or use case. So
And how is this exactly working? So
mm,
my, I'm coming now. I don't know, with some very great idea, and I would like to put this on Obyte because I really think that it would push forward the idea itself and Obyte at the same time. So how do I do this? Should I talk to you, or is there some kind of process to be followed?
of course, the first thing would probably be to join the Discord server, start talking to people, ping-ponging the idea back and forth, listening to some of the developers for advice. If you're not a developer yourself, you would require someone else to implement your idea. And this is where the grant program comes into play, because you can actually apply for funding to be able to hire developers to create your project. Um, so you don't necessarily need to be a coding genius yourself. You can just be a genius by coming up with the idea, and then having someone else help you implement it, and actually be able to pay them to help you implement it.
Yeah, so the first step is basically writing a project and
Yes.
trying to evaluate what's the budget's gonna be and so on, and what's the timeline of execution and so on.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm putting up a link to some information on the grant program in the audience chat, and also in the YouTube chat as well. So you guys who are listening out there can check that out as well.
Cool.
Yeah, perfect. Because I really think that all those there's a lot of, we're not living yeah, we are living in a big world, and there's a lot of grant programs out there. So we need to be quite clear on what exactly a grant program, or what the Obyte grant program means and what it does not mean. That's, I think, quite important in these times.
Of course.
Yeah, and there's on the Discord, I noticed that there's a grant channel. I guess that's a place too where people can come and probably ask some more information directly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So we will put the link to the Discord as well, at least in the YouTube, Rocky, because obviously you don't need to put it on the Discord server. That's not making any sense, does it?
No.
And one of these grants that we at least said that we were going to talk about tonight is a recent grant that was just approved, and actually they developed it at a amazing speed and are almost ready with their first phase of the project, and it's called Obyte, and perhaps you could walk us through what that is, Tamo?
Yeah, so I'm advisor on that project, and I helped to write the grant. I'm not developing it, but basically it's a chat app which has a Obyte wallet built inside. So it's differently focused than the official wallet, because the official wallet is first cryptocurrency wallet, and then it has a chat as a feature there. But since there's a lot of stuff that you can do only through chat, like peer-to-peer contracts, or sending some like the assets, like black bytes and so on. So it makes sense to have a differently focused app also, where these features are more brought more into focus. So this project takes this. It basically starts with the UI and throws away everything that the old UI has, and starts from the beginning, like building the whole UI. Because the official wallet was forked from a Bitcoin wallet, so it has still the similar design and so on. So this new project is totally different design.
And the Obyte wallet is packed with features. Of course, it's the official wallet, so it has to contain all the features available on the platform.
Yeah.
And that might scare off particularly new users who aren't used to all of these weird nerd geeky things and terms and words they don't know what means. So I think it's really an interesting approach to skip all of that, and then put the basic chat function right in the center, and then build the features around the chat. Particularly also since, as you said, that most of the features of the wallet actually requires a peer-to-peer connection or transaction or interaction. So I think it's quite clever and the right approach to improve at least the design and the usability of a wallet for Obyte.
And I just heard the rumor that Telegram is maybe launching their cryptocurrency token on their chat app in like 2 months or 3 months. So.
So actually we have a chance at beating it.
Maybe, yeah. And
Cool.
basically, that's what if the Libra coin is gonna be released next year, it's obviously gonna have that feature in their chat apps like Messenger and WhatsApp.
Ah,
So I think maybe in the next year, 2020, is about the chat apps having the cryptocurrencies inside of them. Well, the idea is not new. WeChat, which is very popular in China, has had those payment methods in their chat app for a long time. So
hmm
Yeah, that's true. That's not a new thing, but it's new in the Western hemisphere. Let's put it like this. So very
That's
cool.
it. It's
Cool.
like I said earlier. It's like I said earlier. There's so many really exciting things going on. I'm just thinking. Okay, so myself and Jan here, we make we make some music, and I always come back to like, well, how can musicians use this? And just like I said earlier, like a kid in a candy store, there's so many opportunities for music applications to be used in this sort of in this kind of platform. And I'm sorry, my mind is going elsewhere today during while we're talking about this, because I'm thinking, hmm, what about if you did this? What if you did that? And all of a sudden,
Oh, now
musicians are,
you're getting kind of cryptic because obviously you might have
yeah,
some
yeah,
ideas.
yeah. Well, yeah, hey, we're gonna do apply for a grant. But maybe musicians can finally get paid and cut out the middleman.
Well, I
Maybe
don't
it's about
know. There
time.
are some musicians I think that really can live from what they earn, like
Yeah, there's a
Beyonce
couple.
and
Britney Spears.
yeah,
Yeah, Beyonce. Yeah,
yeah.
there's two or three more. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
about it.
two, yeah, yeah, one or two, three. There is this English kid, he looks like a bit strange with his red hair, but I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
he can live
I
as
heard about
well
that guy.
from yeah,
Heard about
yeah,
that guy.
yeah.
There's actually been quite a few attempts at particularly every time you have this digital right management dilemma, you need someone to control those rights
Yes.
and to distribute it to communities of consumers, and you have basically hundreds of projects aiming in on this particular use case for a crypto project. And I think obviously the technology is perfect for it.
Yes.
The one thing that everyone lacks is the community reach. How are you going to make your version of Spotify reach million of potential listeners? And I think that's the primary. And would you want to somehow limit your creative work to only become available to that particular community? Or would you want it on Spotify as well? So it's a super difficult balance between the outreach and of course you created an artwork, so you of course want as many as possible to enjoy that piece of work, yet you also want to be paid for it, and that's kind of contradicting, because the way to get the most the largest audience for your piece of art is to provide it for free. And every time you put up a limit to that, you limit the number of potential recipients of that piece of art. So it's really, really difficult. And the difficult part isn't really to handle the digital rights. You could even split it between all the members of a band and say this song was created by these 5 members. So every time someone plays this song, then the money paid for listening to it will be evenly distributed or weighted distributed between these 5 band members. Everything is in place from a technological point of view, but you still need the outreach, you need the audience, and that's where most projects come to a sudden end.
Yeah, I followed some, just a small detour, one sentence or two. I followed some kind of project. I think there was a music coin or music coin
Yes, I'm on
um,
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that
somewhen.
one.
I think it was an Ethereum clone or something. I might be wrong. No, it's not super important. But you're right. There are a lot of people already have been aiming on this digital rights management topic because it's so obvious that it would really solve a lot of things. But yeah,
I think we even had some kind of grant which was not which was posted in the Discord channel.
Yeah.
And it was related to the music.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's
we
really
have
obvious.
actually had quite many grants already.
Yes, I remember that one as well. I don't think it was the community, and that's of course that's another thing. As a grant author, you need to be prepared to meet the community questions, answer a lot of questions, and get the feedback from the community. And as far as I recall, the music grant proposal, it was posted and a lot of questions were raised and none were answered. So I think they
typical musician.
Yeah. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, the Music Coin project, how many actual buyers of music through that platform? Do you know that?
No,
Bucky?
I don't know the buyers. They arranged a way where you would be paid upon the listening. So every time you listen to a piece by, say, Jan here, Jan would get a coin or portion
Yeah,
of.
but it was the ideas was good, but it seriously lacked the thing that you just mentioned: outreach and
it did.
artists that are somehow relevant. Because the one goes with the other. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
If you can convince Taylor Swift or whatever, this strange English guy with the red hair, and Taylor Swift to go there and do things over this platform, then maybe outreach is going to follow. But if you cannot do that, then maybe not.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
And you would probably have to convince them of launching or distributing some of their tracks exclusively on that platform. So you would force listeners to join this, because it's, as far as I know, at least, none of these platforms are particularly user friendly. So it's a lot more difficult for listeners, potential listeners, to get to listen to the music.
You just said that. I think 10 minutes ago. If you're not into the wallet topic, let's pick a very simple thing out of the crypto world. If you don't know what a wallet is, and what you can do with it, then it's going to be complicated. And this is a very simple item out of the cryptocurrency world. And we all are trying to be better and improving in being easier and being more user-friendly and having not these high hurdles of needing to understand, I don't know, thousands of things prior to be able to use it, because that's what nobody will do.
And you have, at the other end, you have another problem, and that is that as a musician, you wouldn't be able to go and buy groceries with that music coin that you just received. So you would need someone to buy that from you.
Exactly.
And that means you would need fiat currency to enter the system somewhere, and if not by the listeners, then by whom? And you would need to be able to extract fiat currency from that system as well. So without any real money going into the system, you will probably find it a bit difficult to have money leaving that system as well.
That's true. And maybe we just finish off and round up our our detour into musical into additional grand thoughts by this statement from Casper, because initially we wanted to take a deep down with Tammo, and I think we are totally able to do that. because Tom was still here, he's still awake. He's having some energy drink to his side, so don't worry. He's totally fit and clever. So we wanted to have a deep dive. Sorry, I'm not pronouncing at my best today, but I'm German, so don't. You know, you cannot.
You're excused.
Yes, I am. I'm giving really my best. So we wanted to have a deep dive with Tamo about developments on testnet involving autonomous agents, and when an autonomous agent makes more sense, and when you should maybe use a chatbot or a headless wallet. So Tamo, yours the stage. You know what I mean?
Yes. So in the beginning, the Obyte only had the smart contracts, and it's not quite the same smart contracts that Ethereum have. So it's like more like contracts between two persons. So this autonomous agents let you build like a decentralized application on Obyte. So like anything where you would need that the code is decentralized and open source, and everybody can verify that this code does what it's supposed to do. That's where autonomous agents make sense, because if you take a chatbot, you only see what it responds to you. You don't see the source code of that chatbot. Even if you go to the GitHub repository where the code could be open sourced, you can't really be sure that this bot is actually running this code, because the developer could actually hide some of the code on the server and add like extra features that they haven't yet published on the GitHub. So autonomous agents are all open source on the public database, so anybody can go and see what they do. And that's actually a major difference with the Ethereum, so like when compared to Ethereum Solidity scripts, because if you deploy Ethereum Solidity script on Ethereum blockchain, you don't see what it's actually doing. You just see a bytecode. So in order you to see what that smart contract is doing, the developer has to verify the smart contract and upload the source. And then you have to trust this website who verified it, that they are showing the actual code. So on Obyte, you can just sync the full node, and you have access to that open sourced code of that autonomous agent.
If we ask the question the other way around, could you come up with any use case where a chatbot would make more sense than an autonomous agent?
Yeah, I think the end solution would always be that you're gonna use both. So that actually the bot will so the stuff that doesn't need to be decentralized or like manipulation free, that can be still on the chatbots. But basically I see it that in the future the chatbot is gonna say that pay to this address, and that address is not anymore the address that the chatbot owns, but it's actually the autonomous agent. So, and they don't have like much control of that code, or depends how much control they coded into it. So I think the future will be a combination of using both, because you need to like somehow assist the users what data they should be sending to the bot. And the current wallet, testnet wallet, doesn't have that feature yet, that you can initiate this transaction from the bot. But I made a pull request to add that feature, so hopefully it soon it will have that possibility.
Another example could actually be the Polo Polo charity platform, shameless self-plug, of course, where we have this a lot of additional data that we cannot post that onto the ledger or fit it into transactions. We would need to keep track of images for the various products that can be donated and stuff like that. But at one point, when we move from the website part into the actual donation transactions, that's when it would make sense to go from a chatbot that posts data into an autonomous agent, which would then handle all the transaction and the exchange of funds donated from donors. So I think that's an example of when would it make sense to have a chatbot, but also when would it make sense to have an autonomous agent.
And this pull request that I made, this will also enable to initiate this transaction to autonomous agent from the website. So Polo Polo could easily have a button on the website, and the user just clicks it, and then all the fields in the wallet will be pre-filled.
Exactly. And that's just one of the improvements on the testnet. Could you shed a bit of light on what else have been improved?
Yeah, I understand you're asking about the storage fee thing, but I actually would go first and tell about some other smaller improvements, which are basically multiple built-in functions that were missing before. So basically, this week there was added a lot of string manipulation functions. Like previously, you couldn't do a sanity test if the string that the user posted was wallet address. So now you can do that, and you can also take some part of the string or check if the string of text starts with some kind of text or ends with some kind of text or contains some kind of text, or even what's the length of the string. So a lot of string manipulation functions. You could also now there was like some time related functions, so you could so if for example user entered date and time, then there's now function that can turn that into a timestamp, or other way around, that you have a timestamp but you want to return a date and time to the user. So because if you return the user a timestamp, there will be like what, like million seconds from 1970. I don't know when is that. So a lot of that kind of and some other built-in functions. But now the big controversial change, which is the storage fee, That's actually not a very accurate name for it either. It's actually not a fee. It's more like
Storage lockup.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's basically what gives bytes the intrinsic value is that um, in order to post some transaction or some data to the public database, you have to pay for fees, and basically the autonomous agent can also send out transactions, and the autonomous agents will also pay for the fees. But there's one thing that's different with autonomous agents is that they will store storage the state in them. So when you interact with the autonomous agent, you can set the state. You can basically, for example, have like a counter that every time you send something to that autonomous agent, it will it will increase the counter by 1. So the, and this takes space on the public database. So there needs to be some way how to manage spam, so that nobody wouldn't write autonomous agents that just fills up all the data disk space. So
Yes.
so the solution for that was basically if you have a big use of storage, then you shouldn't be able to take the bytes out of that autonomous agents. So every time you put something in the state, some amount of, or actually the same amount that it takes space on the database, it's locked. So if you want to get all the bytes out of that autonomous agent, then you have to first free up or clear the state storage.
Do you know if there will be an improvement where you can actually clear all state variables set?
I don't no. I think it's has to be developer responsibility to build the autonomous agent that way that you don't leave
garbage
state
data.
variables
Yes.
that are not used anymore or needed.
But I think it in case where you wanted it to make it easier for the developer, you could just say if the triggering transaction comes from this address, then and has this keyword, then clear all the state variables. That would make it easy and you wouldn't necessarily need to know the name of all the variables and stuff like that. It would be able to just do it in one go. But
there's another I'm not sure if it's security issue, but you can you don't want so it should basically clear only the state variables that are connected with that address. It shouldn't be able to delete variables that are connected with other addresses. Otherwise, the developer could just call this function and it clears all state, and then other people may have lost their balance or something.
Okay.
Because when you deposit some kind of token or bytes into the autonomous agents, you have to somehow record how much this this user owns in that autonomous agents this kind of asset. So where are you going to store it in a state? So that's basically data related to that user.
Okay. I can see that we are already a bit over time once again, just like last time.
Well, this is what happens when you get carried away.
Yeah.
You know? And we
I
got
could go
carried
on.
away by multiple things. We got
Yes.
into a detour on music. We got into a detour on black and normal bytes. We got into detours quite of many things. But I think that's also what makes this program enjoyable and entertaining. I hope. If not, then maybe it's only us four entertained by this.
Well, and in YouTube we had PC Lind had several comments and little questions at the end there. One little point that PC Lind was saying that is the we can look at that payment as almost like a tax in a way. The PC Lind also said, is this all like in what we were just talking about that just then? Is this an interesting concept for the gambling world? Is there a value to the gambling world there? No.
Oh yeah.
I think we haven't seen any autonomous agents related to gambling yet.
That's actually, we did have a lottery, or actually two
yeah,
lotteries.
okay, yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
okay.
not really gambling. That's at least not.
Different
just,
concept.
But
it's quite interesting that of all the gambling opportunities, they chose one that requires randomness, which is insanely difficult to create on an immutable and predictable ledger.
Yeah, real randomness is really quite difficult. Much more
Exactly.
difficult than you would think.
But that's what we had 2 entries in the first round involving a lottery, trying to achieve at least sufficiently unpredictable numbers.
Okay, cool. So yeah, gambling for sure is always when crypto is coming around the corner, gambling's not far.
Yeah.
So
but it's actually quite an interesting point about the tax. Having an autonomous agent act as kind of a tax agent. That's perhaps something for the developers.
That's maybe the most hated agent ever going to be lived on this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but just like we talked about last time, we need to bridge the gap to the real world, not make the gap bigger.
Absolutely.
And we are definitely not going to have entire nations just wave goodbye to all their taxes. So
for sure not.
That's definitely that's a huge topic, and
Absolutely.
we are already
especially my
above
country.
time,
My country is quite high sophisticated in when it comes to collect taxes. I think I might not be right, but German taxmen they are quite high sophisticated, and I think it's sooner or later that they come around the corner and knocking at my door and say, "Hey, you earned bytes," and I can say, "Oh yeah, really? Did I? Yeah." And it's this amount, and you have to pay taxes now,
and
my friend.
You can just blame it on me for suggesting someone to build a tax autonomous agent.
Yeah. Exactly. It's Casper. Go to Copenhagen. It's
sorry.
Okay. So
right.
we are wrapping it up now. Thanks a lot, Casper.
So.
Thanks a lot, Tamo. Thanks a lot, Andrew. It was a great show. It was informational. It was entertaining. It was detouring quite a lot. And if you want to, dear audience, if you want to take part in our detours, this is totally possible. You can just set us on detours by asking questions, by giving us feedback, by, I don't know, inputting your thoughts into wherever we might read them. And then we are going happily on a new detour into your direction. Because this is actually what we're here about. We're here about talking information, talking about grants, talking about this autonomous agent entries that we're having, but also talking with you and answering questions and, I don't know, getting new ideas and bouncing things around. And it was a total pleasure having all of you. It was a total pleasure having all of the audience out there. And even if you're watching this on the recorded version, it's a total pleasure having exactly you watching this. So you might next time join us live, and most likely, I'm taking a look now at my calendar. It's going to be a Thursday in 2 weeks. My calendar says it's the 12th. That's a bad thing.
I think you're right.
Because
Exactly.
I got birthday on the 12th of September, so it's gonna be a birthday show.
Ooh.
Hey, but you remember we did a birthday show. It was my birthday back in May.
Now it's obviously a revenge, and it's my birthday. So we're going
We'll
to
have cake. We'll have cake.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to have cakes, and I'm going to have a birthday hat. So if you want to see us live again, come visit us at the birthday show for the Obyte Community Radio on the 12th of September. It's going to be 10 o'clock Central European time, and it's 8 p.m., isn't it? 8 p.m. UTC, the Universal
Yes.
Time Code.
Yes.
And please, time zoning is a pain in the ass for me. I cannot do it. I'm just always off. So please, 8 p.m. UTC, this is the Universal Time Code. Please take this and calculate it into your own time zone so that you don't miss it. Thanks a lot, Bucky. Thanks a lot, Casper. Thanks a lot, Tamo. And
Thank you.
We're out.
Thank you.
Obyte
Bye.
Community Radio.
Bye.
So, thank you.